I would hope they know my views are conservative views.
Hey, listen, man. Share whatever your views are. However, here's what I'll say.
Be real.
Be absolutely 100%. So
that's the key right there. Be real. The
name of the podcast is called The Authentic Exchange.
Be real. There you go.
And so, I chose that because I felt like, authenticity is something that we miss in the world today.
Who you telling?
And so people can't show up as themselves. But oftentimes, when I went to this style, well, it's just me. I get the real people, and I get to connect with people in a different way.
And it's surprising that you use that word because most black people are conservative.
100%.
Okay.
They don't want to acknowledge.
They don't want to exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Most black, because I grew up, being from the islands. Mm-hmm. Island people are conservative, dude. Mm-hmm. Very much so. You know.
I just say, and so you're perfect. And I got another client coming behind you. I'm gonna pick his brain as well if he'll allow me.
Cool. No big deal.
But you weren't raised in America, right?
No.
So I need a different perspective, right? Because even though you weren't raised in America, what I'm about to ask you is universal.
Yeah.
And so there are many different perspectives, many different ways to look at it. And I don't feel like there's a right or wrong.
There's no right or wrong way in life.
Yeah, as much as it is, you're just figuring out what works best. Some of it's stuff you're going to be taught, somebody impressed upon you, and then you figure out, hey, do I want to keep this or no?
Yeah.
So, Father's Day is coming up. June's coming up. My podcast is dedicated to men.
Okay.
And so I was like, man, let me just ask some questions about fatherhood.
Yeah.
Manhood.
Yeah.
What is it like?
Yeah.
You talk about your daughter. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I'm curious how you view fatherhood, how
it's kind of surprising you said, like, I was listening to you guys talk about family.
Yeah.
And how it don't come, being a parent don't come with a book. And that is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. Because even though the things that I saw my parents teach me growing up, or I saw my parents doing, it's not the same for me teaching my daughter growing up because times are different.
Right.
I didn't have a cell phone growing up.
Of course not.
I wasn't going out. I'm sleeping over, when I was that age, because me and my wife were just talking about that yesterday. Like, man, when we was our daughter's age, we weren't doing half or even most of the stuff that we allowing her to do. Because our parents did not see things. Times were different back then.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, she's going out, hanging out with her friends, going out to eat, hanging out at the mall. She's driving, she have her own car. She's having sleepover. And, like, we didn't have these things growing up. Even though we're from the island, it's still, our parents did not see things like that, dude.
Well, so let me ask you this. This is part of the question, right? Uh-huh. So, as a father who got very traditional conservative values, I'm going to say, in way your parents grew up in a different time, right? Mm-hmm. So they taught you, but oftentimes what we do is we duplicate what we saw, right?
Yes.
How did you figure out I have to change or adapt,
dude? Yes.
To raise my child in today's time.
Let me give you a good example. Okay. I have six kids in the family.
Okay.
One passed away.
Okay.
My siblings had kids before I did. Okay. My parents literally, I moved up here to the mainland before my siblings. Okay. My parents literally raised my siblings' kids.
Oh wow!
Literally, when I mean literally raised them.
Wow!
And that's something I vow never, ever, to, happen when I have a child.
Okay.
So no, that never happened. My daughter did not have the kind of relationship with my parents like my siblings' kids did. Because for me, it was one of those things, nah, it's not going to happen. I'm going to raise mine myself.
Okay.
Right? Because for me, the way I look at it is that I don't want my parents raising my child the way they raised me.
Okay.
Because, dude, growing up, it was like, my mother did not play, dude.
Okay.
When you getting beat,
yeah,
bro, It was belt. It was extension cord.
Yeah.
Dude, it was whatever they could, she could find in her hand.
Yeah.
You can beat with it. And for me, I vow, nah, somebody who raised me like that would never raise my child. I raised my daughter. We raised our daughter ourselves. We of course, we made a lot of mistakes. Because like you said, parenting don't come with a book.
Not at all.
It don't come with a book.
It
don't come with a book. And at the same time, what you learn from your parents, in some cases, some of us like, okay, yeah, this is how my parents raised me. That's how I want to raise my child.
Yes.
For me, it was like, nah, that's not going to happen. So we raised our daughter ourselves. We made mistake. We learned from our mistake. And we move on. And it was one of those things where you look at life and you're like, the way my parents raised me, I was grew up, born on an island. It's not the same for my daughter.
Okay.
Time has changed. They not have a cell phone. It was always, grew up in the church.
Yeah.
Grew up in the church, dude. And when I mean I grew up in the church.
So
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday.
That's the both of us.
Bro.
That's the both of us. That's the both of us.
Dude, I did not go to, my parents was against, wearing pants.
Yeah.
Going to church, going to the movies, just going to the club, these kind of things.
Yeah.
And I resent them for that.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
Because my thing is, you're looking at, your friends and everybody going out and you're like, you're home, dude. You're home.
Okay.
It's like, and I vow never to ever raise my child like that, dude. Because I look at it as, I look at it as going back and thinking about the things I miss.
Okay.
As a child growing up. I do not want that for my child. Nah.
So let me ask you this. You say you go back and you think about what you missed.
Yeah.
All right. Now, do you look at both sides of the coin?
Yes.
Okay, so when you say you missed something, did you gain on another side? So
yes.
There's some positive from doing it that way.
Yes.
Okay.
And the way I look at it is this. There's two sides to a coin, yes. So the things that I missed that I was like, man, I was so upset with my parents for doing. There's, there was a lot of positive that came out of it, but at that same time, the times are different. You see? So I can't say that, in one case I'm like, man, I'm not going to raise my daughter like that. But at the same point, it's like the times were different. What I gained from the things that my parents refused for me to do or the places for me to go, if I do the same for my daughter, will it be the same for her? And the answer is no. Okay. Because the times are different.
Right.
Times are different. I mean, COVID happened. Look how many kids are committing suicide, dude.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We didn't grow up. We didn't grow up like that.
That was no option, man.
No, we didn't grow up like that.
Not even cross your mind.
Yeah, exactly. These things never crossed your mind, dude. Now it's like, you turn on the TV, you read something, somebody's taking their life in your case, you think about it, you're like, man, why would you take your life for no reason? And at the same time, you can't say for no reason because you don't know what's going on in that person's life.
Right.
So for me, the things I learned growing up as a child, even though in some cases I regret my parents doing or not doing, I can't enforce that same thinking on my daughter because times are different.
I respect that, man. And that's a great thing because, I talk to a lot of people and, I feel like you have something, a term that, gets thrown around kind of loosely. It's called conscious parenting. And, I'll just say what you did was intentional. It was conscious. You made a decision to say, hey, I'm going to be purposeful about how I teach my child.
Yes.
I'm not just going to take this information that came to me earlier because I don't know if this is the best for this time. I don't know if it was the best then. It was just this is what was given to me. So I would like to put together, how I want to, cultivate and groom my daughter. You know what I mean? And
you put the both of them together.
Yeah.
And then you figure out, okay, is this the best solution? And you just go from there. Because again, the times are different. We could have walked from school to our house back then. You can't do that these days. Kids are getting, snatched up like nothing.
Oh yeah, it's different.
We didn't have mass shooting in school when we was growing up.
Not at all.
These days, you're afraid to even send your child to school. Times are different.
There we go. They are very. So let me ask this: as somebody who said that you had resentment toward some of the things that your parents did, right? How do you qualify? Whether, and I'm gonna speak more specific to father, because like I said, coming up Father's Day and all that good stuff, right? How do you qualify a good father? Is it something that you self-qualify? Do you let the kid qualify? Is it the results that qualify? How do you judge whether or not somebody's a good father or not?
All the above.
All of the above, okay.
All the above.
Okay.
Because if you ask any man, the thing about it, I just had this conversation with somebody a couple days ago.
Okay.
There's a difference between a father and a dad.
Okay. Talk to me. Break it down.
There's a difference between a father and a dad. Everybody think a father is a dad. Everybody think a dad is a father. No. Anybody could be a father.
Okay.
Anybody. But what makes a dad different than a father? Responsibility.
Okay.
Okay, you're responsible for what you have, for what's yours. You take responsibility and ownership of that. That's what makes you a dad. Anybody could be a father, dude. Anybody. A mother could be a father.
Okay.
So for me, you ask any man if he's the perfect dad, he will tell you, yeah. Yeah. He's not going to say, oh, no, but, he's going to come out and tell you, yeah. So for me, it's all of the above. The individual telling you yes or no, the child telling you yes or no, because you ask, because one thing in my house, we do, is we have family time.
Okay.
We have open conversation. We talk.
Okay.
We give our daughter the platform to be honest about everything.
Okay.
What is it about what we doing you dislike? Be honest about it. And she tell us.
How did y'all come up with that? Is that something that you looked at, what your parents did?
Yes.
Okay.
That's something me and my wife decide, you know what? It's just like, for example, when we find out we was pregnant, because we used to live in Stone Mountain off of Memorial Drive. Okay? And when we find out, we figure, okay, we want a different, we want to move. So we moved to Alpharetta. Okay, when we find out we were pregnant when we were living in Alpharetta, like, okay, we're not raising our child in an apartment. That's not happening. Because we grew up, in a house.
Yeah.
So me and my wife start looking for houses in Alpharetta. Like, man, these things are expensive because the taxes in Fulton County is high. Like, nah, let's move up north. So we drove down here to Forsyth County. Like, yeah, we get more bang for our money. And we made that move. Raised her, our child was born in Forsyth County. Raised her in Forsyth County. Okay? And we just moved from there. We decided, and when we decided once we had this child, what is it we're going to do different? And me and my wife, we sat down, and, the things she didn't like about her parents, the things I didn't like about my parents, the things she liked about her parents, the vice versa. And we decided, okay, what route we want to go in raising our child. And we decided, you know what? We're going to figure it out on our own. Because you go to your parents and you ask your parents, or you let your parents raise your child. How you think they're going to raise your child?
They're going to do what they did for you.
Exactly. And in some cases, they're going to probably be worse because the way I look at it, one of the things that made the decision for me, it was like, I'm not going to let my parents what they regret with me
Okay.
to take it out of my child. Meaning, they regret doing certain thing with me, so they're gonna try to make things better through my child. Nah, dude.
Makes sense.
Nah.
Makes sense.
Nah.
That make a whole lot of sense.
Nah.
Now let me ask you this. So you mentioned, you know, difference between father and dad, okay? And you said dad, you know, taking responsibilities, okay? So I'm gonna ask you 2 questions. What does it mean to take responsibility, and what responsibilities do you have as a dad, right?
Okay.
Okay. And I'll let you answer that first.
Okay. The responsibility, in my opinion, of what is a dad is you providing for that household.
Okay.
For your wife, for your daughter, for your child, or for your fiance, for your girlfriend. Because you don't have to be married to be a dad, dude.
Okay.
Right? No.
Agree.
You know, if you're a husband, you have a fiance, you're in a relationship, and that when I mean that, I mean I'm not just talking the traditional. Even though I'm conservative, I'm not stupid.
Okay.
You know, and what I mean by that is that nowadays we're in the 21st century. Dads could be moms. Moms could be dads. Meaning you have a household where there's 2 women. You have a household where there's 2 men.
Okay. Okay.
You know, so I can't just look at it from the standpoint of a traditional, you know, man and woman, because if that was the case, the traditional man and woman in a lot of cases, a husband and a wife. That's not the case these days.
So I'm gonna push back on.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna push back on
it.
it. So I don't think a woman can be a father. I don't think she can, you know, be a dad. Can she try to do some of the things that fathers can do, or dads can do? Just however you choose to interchange the words. Can she do some of those things? Yes, but I think there's some unique stuff, things that you as a man are going to be able to provide. And depending on your child, there's certain things that, like, a mom's going to be a mom. You know what I mean? And so even if you got a masculine mom, you know, she's still a mom.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I've grown up around, you know, women that are very masculine, but a masculine woman still is not a substitute for a man. And they're not going to be able to teach you, you know, how to be a man.
True.
Or
vice versa.
You know what I mean? And
remember how the conversation first started off?
Yeah.
Basically, it was times are different.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, they are very different.
So, for me, yes, a woman cannot do for a child what a man could do for a child in certain cases. A man cannot do for a child what a woman could do for a child in certain cases. But if you grew up in a household nowadays where your parent is a man and your parent is a woman, you know, that parent have no other choice but to raise that child as a woman or as a man, meaning try your best to instill into that child. If you're a woman, you're going to try your best to raise this boy, you know, as a man, meaning, you know, you mightn't have the physical fitness or the way of how a man will raise his son, but you will put him in, you will put that boy in certain situation where that boy will have men around him.
There we go. I'll take that.
So that's one way of a woman raising a boy, or a man raising a child. That's putting that child in position for that child to be around certain people. You know,
somebody. So we on the same page. So I understand now, because I look at it like somebody's got to fill in the gap, right? You know. So
but at the same time, that somebody have to fill in that gap. Start with that parent, whoever that parent is, whether that parent is a man or woman. That's where it starts. It starts here first. So I can't necessarily say that a woman can raise a boy or a man can raise a girl. It starts with them.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. I wouldn't say that at all. I would not say that at all.
It starts with those parents first saying, you know what, I'm a man. It's like, for instance, I'm a dad.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff about my daughter. I thank God for my wife, dude.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. I mean, I got clients and they're like, man, I'm struggling, bro. I don't know how to approach this subject, and that's what you say. You get somebody that can stand in right here, somebody that knows the terrain.
I'm always guarantee you, these men that have these daughters and no woman in their life have a lot of females in their life.
Oh, they do.
That they trust.
They do, yeah. And you're gonna help.
Exactly.
You're gonna help.
Put this child around these females.
Yeah.
Go from there, bro. Go from there. Because a man could raise a girl, a woman could raise a boy.
Okay. We're on the same page. Yeah. So, what? Like I say, what's the responsibilities? Like your responsibilities as a father. Like, okay, so it's unique, right? Because I think as a father raising a son, there's certain stuff that you can probably fire off. Boom.
Yeah, quick.
But man, I gotta teach my son this. I gotta teach this. But you have daughter. So, what responsibility as a father with a daughter do you have? Like, how has that changed? You know, how you would approach things with the boy, right? Okay. So there's still some stuff that you can teach her that's going to impact her life, not necessarily not necessarily teaching her certain skills, like, you know, I mean,
just raising her.
Yeah, you can teach her how to change a tire or something. Yeah, is that going to impact her? Yeah, sure, it could. But I'm talking about the deeper things. You know what I'm saying? Because
the conversations.
Yeah, the conversations.
Okay, let me give you a perfect example.
Okay.
In a lot of ways, I don't see any different in raising a girl than it is a boy.
Okay.
And let me tell you the reason why.
Okay.
You love your kids, you're going to talk to them. Look, my wife wasn't comfortable talking to my daughter about sex.
Okay.
Hey, dude, I had no problem talking to my daughter about sex. None, no problem. Okay. And it wasn't the bees and the
birds and the bees.
No, bro. It was literally the words.
Yes.
Sex. I didn't sugarcoat anything for my child. Okay. So talk to her about it. Talk to her about protection. Talk to her about any dude put their hands on you without your consent.
Yeah.
Whatever you have around you, pick it up and bust his ass with it.
Right.
No if and a but about it. Right. I would do the same thing for my son if I had a son.
Okay.
You know, you don't do anything. You know, it's like one of the things I told my daughter. I was like, I make sure, dude. I make sure that the conversation I have with my wife, the way I treat my wife, my daughter sees those things.
Okay, and
she knows those things.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
that right there.
She knows. So I make sure, even though there's time. Look, let me give you a perfect example.
Why do you do that? Go for it.
Let me give you a perfect example. We had an argument. This was some months ago, right? My daughter was home. This was before she left to go to college.
Okay,
she's 19 now. She just turned 19. Okay. And we had me and my wife had a big powwow in the house. You know, we don't get physical. It's just, we arguing.
Of course.
You know? No. So after arguing was done, we give each other a hug, tell each other we love her. My daughter was upstairs. We call her down, put her down. We sat in the kitchen counter and we talked.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we told our daughter is that, did you hear the conversation? She said, yeah. We said, okay. Not because me and your mom argued, that doesn't mean we don't love each other.
Okay.
Not because me and your mom argued, that don't mean we respect each other. I said one of the things about life is you're going to disagree with people in so many different ways.
Of course.
That you have to get that frustration out.
Okay.
You talk about it and said, I told her in some conversation, you have, you talk. You have normal conversation. I said in some conversation, you yell, you argue, you get. I said, but at the same time, that doesn't mean I disrespect her, or that doesn't mean she disrespects me. We respect each other, but we had things, we disagree on this one thing. And then this one thing, we just had to get our point across. And we both got our point across, and we move on. So for me, it's one of those things when you're raising a child, regardless of whether that child is a boy or a girl.
Okay.
You know, you let that child know the things that they see and hear. That doesn't make things any different in the house. Now, you raise your hand at that woman. That's a whole different ballgame. In my opinion, there is no way you could tell that child, "Oh, I care for your mom. I love your mom." No, a man should never put his hand on a woman, regardless. If a woman decide to hit you, dude, walk away.
Okay.
Walk away.
Okay.
Because you letting your child see that, what you think that child is going to think.
Okay.
No matter what you tell that child, right?
Absolutely, I agree with you.
No matter what you tell that child see for itself that, wow, that just hit mom.
So my question is this. I mean, it's twofold. So, do you teach your daughter as a father? Because there's a lot of men that I know who women have hit them. I've seen women like physically abuse men. You know what I mean? Not like, oh man, she grabbed your collar and smack you or some stuff.
Like literally abusing.
I've seen men got cut, stabbed. Like I've seen all kinds of stuff where women initiate all of this stuff, and the man is just like he's trying to walk away. He's trying to do all this different stuff. And I've seen men go to jail. I've seen like crazy stuff happen where men gets in trouble for something a woman initiates. What do you teach your daughter about that? Because I think it's a very powerful lesson that you're teaching her in terms of seeing you and your wife argue and then reconcile and come back and understand that we love, and just because we argue or we disagree doesn't mean we love. I think that's very powerful because it teaches her, very powerful lesson in terms of like, how everything's not always perfect, you know.
And it's funny that you said that's one of the things, we told her, like, Pumpkin, everything in life is not perfect. And one of the examples that we use, like, okay, you have friends, right? She said, yeah. I said, do you agree with everything your friends say? She said, no. I said, exactly. I said, exactly. I said, well, we are created by God, right? The person who created us obviously was not perfect himself. And if he created us in his own being, what's that telling you? That's telling you that we are not perfect. Now, it's one thing to have an argument with somebody. It's a different thing for putting your hands on somebody. Right. Now, if you are... And one of the things, again, we try to show our daughter is that, you can have discussion, you can have disagreement. Always respect somebody else. Respect what's coming out of somebody's mouth. You don't have to agree with it, but that's how they feel. Respect it. Now, the minute somebody put their hands on you, that's a problem.
Yeah. We gotta go about handling it a completely different way.
That's different.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So one of the things as a dad, I teach my daughter is like, look, you'll never see me put my hand on my wife, on your mom. None of your uncle, you'll never see any of your uncle putting their hand on their wives or their fiance or any woman in their life. That's just the way we were raised. Okay. For me, that's something I just do not believe in. That I strongly, I just have this problem when a man put his hand on a woman. If a woman strike you, walk away, dude. Walk away. Look, just walk away. Because even though, yes, in some cases, like you said, you've seen a lot of women stab men and, and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
For me, at the same time, walk away, dude.
Yeah.
Walk away.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be the best for it.
Yeah.
Walk away.
That's what I'm saying. I've seen men try to walk away. Dude. And they end up like fighting with women because they're trying, literally self-defense, trying to defend themselves. Because, like I said, I've seen some crazy situations, and that's why I said, do you tell your daughter? Because I guess as boys, boys are typically raised like, hey, don't hit girls.
Yeah,
that's typical, right? But nobody ever says to girl, don't you put your hand, right? Because
we have in our we have.
For me, growing up, it was always like. So it's a mixed message, I guess, growing up, because it was like, hey man, if somebody hits you, you hit them back. Yeah. But you don't hit girls. So basically, what they should have said was, if it's a boy, you hit them back.
Yeah.
But if it's a girl, you don't do it. And so, as kids, you don't necessarily know. But what I always ask men that have daughters is like, do your daughter know that it's not okay for her to put her hands on?
And one of the ways my daughter knows that, not only by us telling her, because her mom even had that conversation with her.
Good.
Her mom even told her. I mean, her mom even told her, me and your dad will argue, but you'll never see me, you know. She even told her, she said, there's been many times I want to hit your dad. She told her plain and simple, there's many times I want to hit your dad, but she told her, I know it's wrong. I know it's not something to do. She even told my daughter, she said, your dad would never hit me. Okay, and she told her. Now, that's not something I had to tell my daughter. That's something her mom told her.
Okay.
Never hit. Good. Never raise your hand and hit a man.
So,
unless it's one of those things where they disrespect you. Now, a man disrespect you? Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Game over.
Like you said, somebody putting their hands on you.
Game over.
Yeah.
Game over.
Now, I'm going to ask you two questions. One, do you realize that the type of man that you are, and are you intentional about what you do in front of your child? It sounds like yes, but I don't want to assume. So I asked the question because the type of man that you are, your daughters, she sees you, and the type of men that she'll end up going for is going to be they're going to have some traits that you got. They're not going to be, night and day different. No. They're going to have some of the qualities and characteristics that you have. So did you have to think about that, or is there certain things that you taught her, like, okay, one, hey, this is certain things that, and of course she's 19, so she's not getting married yet, but certain things, like, are you grooming her from a man's perspective on, like, things she should do as a wife? Because women can tell you how to be a wife, right? But she's telling you from the female perspective. But there's certain things that you want as a man out of a wife that you may have to, explain to your daughter.
Let me give you a perfect example.
Okay.
We my daughter don't have a boyfriend yet.
Okay.
So she just got home, for the summer. Okay, and one of the things we was talking about, right, was, we sat at the table, like, hey, did you find a boyfriend yet? You see anybody that you like? She said, I know, this is exactly what she said. She said, I know there's a lot of guys that like me, but I don't like them.
Okay.
I said, why? And she just started, she's going down the list of the things about these guys she do not like, dude. Okay? She literally is going down the list of these things that she don't like in these guys. Okay, so she knows what she's looking for in a man, in a boyfriend. Some of her friends have boyfriends.
Yeah.
Okay? And I literally asked them, like, you seen any guys, that you like? And she said, no. She said, I know there's a couple of, couple of them that like me, but I don't like them because of this, that, this, and the other.
So did you help her create that list?
No. That's the thing. This is, again, this is from having previous conversation, from her seeing things with us, and for us, from her having conversation, we telling her, even though me and your mom argue, hey, we still love each other. One of the things, give a good example. My daughter came to me one time, this was some years ago. Dad, you'd yell too much when you could talk to me without yelling at me.
Okay.
Dude, I didn't know I was yelling at her.
Yeah.
Literally, I did not know. So that's something I had to kind of like, okay, she feel I'm yelling at her. Let me kind of tape it down when I'm talking to her or when she's around. I make sure that my voice do not, what's the word? Travel. To make her think that I'm raising my voice, because she literally came to me. She said, "Dad, you when you talk to me, you always raise your voice at me, and you kind of scare me." Dude, I did not know that. And for me, it was like, whoa.
I'm glad that she felt comfortable enough.
Yes.
To come say that, right? So that's huge that you and your wife have done that. Now, she felt comfortable enough to you, so that's why I say, like, can you speak to just the relationship that you guys have, not necessarily because she's got a different relationship with her mom too.
That's
you
true.
know?
Oh yeah.
But how's the relationship, and how did you have to cultivate that? How did you?
Okay, my wife is into all this Zumba thing, so we went to a Zumba dance thing. My wife and her friends had downtown Alpharetta, and the Green. So me and my daughter walking. She have her hands around me. I have my hands around my daughter. Okay, we walking. How many men could say that their daughter will hug them in public?
Yeah, right.
Or
right. Not many.
Okay, that says a lot.
It does.
Okay, it says a lot. So in some cases, there's certain things I did not have to tell my daughter.
Okay.
That she just, it just happened.
Okay. Okay.
It just happened. And look, it's true. Kids do pay attention to their parents.
100%.
Whether or not we want to believe it.
Yeah, 100%.
There's times that your child is wrong. There's time my daughter have been wrong, and I did not know, dude. There's time my daughter is listening to conversation me and my wife is having. I did not know.
That's
and then she'll come later on and be like, yeah, da 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 da. You know, she just come down the list. And for me, it's like, man, thank God, I wasn't being an idiot. I wasn't stupid when I was having this conversation or when I was doing certain things.
Do you think that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because your kids do pay attention.
They do.
They do.
Do you think that? And I mean, of course, the obvious answer. But do you think for you would have raised a son differently? Do you think there's a lot of overlap in terms of, you know, the lessons? Because I feel like as parents, there's lessons that you want to teach or principles that you want your kids to have, so that when they leave you, they're able to function on their own.
See, that's for me. That's the thing, though. I would say no.
No. Okay.
Because why would you raise a daughter any different than you raise a son?
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that the same way you tell your daughter not to raise her hand at a man unless this happens, you will tell the same thing to your son. Never raise your hand at a woman, but if a woman raises her hand at you, you walk away.
Yeah.
So the two are the same.
Okay.
You know, because my thing is, why should you raise your son any differently than you're raising your daughter? Okay? Because for me, it's one of those things where you have a girl, you're going to raise her to respect not a man, but you respect people.
Okay.
You're going to have a boy, you're not going to just tell your son just to respect women. You're going to have your son to respect people. Once you tell your kids to respect people, that's just it.
Stretch back. So, I mean, I love the approach that you have. We're bringing this up just a little bit, right? I love the approach that you have because it sounds, you think conservative, but it's very I won't even say liberal, but
okay.
Even though the way that you approach things is
again,
very,
even
like,
though I'm conservative,
it's mutual respect, man. And I think people miss the respect aspect of it. And so, you know, to understand that you're looking at it like that is different, because, and that's why I said I wanted to get your perspective, because, and I don't know if everybody thinks like this, but the traditional American approach is that I'm going to raise my boy different than I'm going to raise my girl.
Okay, yeah, because some people are like, okay, I'm going to raise my boy to be strong.
Yeah. Well,
what is raising your boy to be strong?
Right.
So which means you're not going to raise your daughter to be strong too?
Yeah. So, exactly.
Exactly. Yo, come on.
Exactly. So, that's
raise your kids to be strong. End of story. Boom. That's it. Okay. Even though I'm conservative, I am not stupid. Okay, let me give a perfect example. I'm not... Look. You gay, you do your thing. I don't... It's not my thing.
Yeah.
I don't... what I'm looking for. I don't indulge it.
Yeah.
But it's your life.
Right. Live your life how you want to live your life.
How you want to live your life. You don't have to answer to me. Because one of the things I keep coming back to in life that have me thinking certain way is this. John 3:16. For God so loved the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
That he gave his only Son. He didn't say for God so loved the world, he only gave it to black people. He only gave it to white people. He only gave it to straight people.
Yeah, not at all. I'll take that. I rock with it. I feel like you come from a place, just me listening to you and having this conversation, you have a certain level of respect for all people.
Yes, you have to.
And you have love towards people unless, I'm going to assume, unless something has been done to diminish it. You know what I mean? But you're giving people that
benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, bingo. And so I don't know if that's a byproduct of how you were raised, or something that your parents influence, or
both.
If what it is,
both.
Okay.
I'm a big believer in giving people the benefit of the doubt,
because that just that's an interesting way. Not everybody approaches things like that. Most people, and I know I'm making a big generalization by saying most people, I believe tend to doubt first, and then it's like, okay, now I'll believe something later, and I'm just like, oh no, it does not have to be that way. Does not have to be that way at all. And so you choose to see the best in people rather than think the worst of people, and I think that we would get a whole lot further. And so to me, if you've been able to teach that concept, that one thing to your daughter, I think that that's really powerful. If you've been able to share that with her and she's embraced that as well. Is there any one lesson that if you say, hey man, I wanted to make sure my daughter understood or understands this, that she, from all the interactions that she had, whether she's observing you or whether you're talking with her, is there anything in particular that you wanted to make sure that she took away from you?
Basically, I wanted, basically I wanted my daughter to see that, people are who they are.
Okay.
You have to respect them. Okay? Mm-hmm. You don't have to like the things that's coming out of their mouth. Okay. You don't have to like the lifestyle they're living. Just respect them.
So how did you get there, man? How did you tell me a little, give me a little background, because I'm just, it's the curiosity.
Let me give you a perfect example. A lot of people walk around here talking about they're Christians.
Of course.
None of us is perfect, but
not at all.
You claiming you're a Christian, but you bashing another group of people because of what, their skin color, because they have a rainbow flag. They like the same gender. Really?
I'm with you, man.
Bro, you cannot consider yourself a Christian if you just can't.
I'm with you, and I love that approach. Like I said, I love that approach.
None of us are perfect, but
never gonna be.
You striving to be perfect every day as much as you can.
That's it. I don't even use the word perfect anymore, man. I stopped trying to be perfect, and I just want to be better every day, man. If I can improve a little bit every day, and I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, And so,
and with that being said, that's how we raise our child. You cannot claim to be following God's word. Now, I'm not going to say I'm a perfect Christian by far, bro. Okay. But at the same time, you cannot claim to be somebody, and yet in one hand you go to church, oh hallelujah, by the God, go giving your opinion, your tithe, and then the minute you walk out of that church or Monday come, you turn on the TV, you listen to Fox News, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, and your views of people is just you're ready to just crush them because they have a different belief than you do.
Okay, and so let me ask this. All right, and this is based off a conversation that we had previously. Okay. How do you feel as a father? Do you feel like you're responsible for your child's life in terms of like, hey, they need to go the way that you think is best, or do you open enough to say, hey, you know, you go live however you want to live. You know, I'm gonna guide you for a little bit. It's almost like, you know, on the bicycle training wheels, and then at some point you got to step back and they're gonna have to do their thing, right?
It's something I've thought about. My daughter have to live her life.
Okay.
We give her all the tools.
Okay.
Give her everything she needs. Then when she do leave our house, she made a comment some months ago. Ooh, when she get her own place, this is da 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 da, and then she walked and she went upstairs. I look at my wife. I'm like, I wasn't ready for that conversation. You know, I wasn't ready for that conversation. And I soon realized. My wife told me. My wife was like, "Ooh, you do know she have to go live her own life some point." But I'm like, "Yeah, I do know that." Okay. So with that being said, I make sure my daughter know how to shoot a gun.
Okay. Okay. Because I was going to ask that question.
Yes.
I was definitely going to ask that question. She know how to handle the weapon.
Yes. Because one of the things we have many conversations, I just remind my child, I'm not always going to be here.
Yeah.
Okay? And I want to make sure when I leave, I told her, I said, as long as I'm breathing, I got you. I said, but there's going to be a time when I'm not around that I want you to be able to defend yourself.
Right.
Okay? So when she turned 21, I'm taking her to the gun shop, buying her a gun.
Okay.
Okay? But she do know how to handle a weapon.
Nice. Nice.
Because daddy's not always going to be there. Mom is not always going to be there. She might decide that she want to move out of state, move someplace else. You know? I'm not going to be physically there to defend her. She have to be able to defend herself.
Right. So, I love that, man, because you're trying to make sure that she's equipped with everything that she needs.
Because I look at it like this: you cannot just give your kids just the basic of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
You have to go above and beyond.
Okay.
Meaning you have to let your kids know, yes, you know, there's people in the world that is different than you. Yes, look, one of the things we let our daughter know, there's people out there that their job or their belief is to just make your life a living hell because of the color of your skin or because of the fact that you're a female. Okay? We wanted to make sure that when it gets to that point, she know how to handle herself. Okay? Whether it's physically or whether it's one of those things where she know how to just talk about it and move on. You cannot just give them the tools that they need to go to school. You have to also give them the tools that they need to live life. You know? You know, there's a lot of kids out there, you know, I'll say kids of color that do not have a bank account or checking account or savings account, do not know how to write a check. You know, even though in my child, our kids' time, checks is something they're not going to use, but still, that's something we wanted to make sure that our daughter know how to do.
Yeah.
Write a check.
Yeah.
Manage her own account. You know?
I think that's powerful. Now, is there any piece of advice that you would give to other fathers? You know what I mean? You know, not that your way is the perfect way or the right way, because there's no right way.
No.
But is there some tips or some, you know, something that you found that has been successful or that works for you?
Be honest.
Be honest. Be honest.
Be honest.
Be honest.
That's just it right there, dude.
Okay. What does that mean?
Be honest with yourself.
Okay.
If you feel that what you doing is working, then you go to that person that you're with, whether it's your wife, your fiance, your girlfriend, you know, whether that person is another man, another woman, regardless of who that person is in your life, but that person means something to you.
Yeah.
Be honest with that person. Be honest with that person.
Okay.
You know, 'cause, you know, for me, at the end of the day, like you said, nobody is perfect. But if you're honest with somebody, like, meaning what, for me, being honest meaning coming back to giving somebody the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
You give somebody the benefit of the doubt, you let them know who you are, where you stand, this is what you're about. Even though they might disagree, they mightn't agree with you that you are conservative and they're liberal, you respect that. You be honest with that person, you respect it. Be honest. That's the best thing I could do, because the reason why, for me, that's the only word I could choose and I could use is because we all come from different backgrounds.
Oh yeah, 100%. Agree. We do. We all come from different backgrounds, and that's why I say, like, everybody's got a different way of approaching things, and that's why I say I want to talk to people with different perspectives. And like I said, as a father, you have your way of doing things.
Be honest, because what is it we all have in common? We all have one trait in common. We either tell the truth or we lie.
Okay.
That's it.
What's that?
Be honest. That's the only word I could use, bro. Because we all come from different backgrounds. But the one thing we all have in common, 100%, we could either lie or we could either tell the truth. And that's towards your child, that's towards yourself. Because if you're not being honest with yourself, you're not going to be honest with anybody.
So, you don't even know it, but that is one of my biggest, pet
peeves.
Yeah, that's a life philosophy for me.
Yeah.
Bigger than pet peeve.
Yeah.
It's a life philosophy. That's part of my
how you live your life.
Constitution. Yeah, it's how I live, man.
Yeah.
And I say it slightly different, but I tell people that you can't bullshit yourself.
No.
You can't bullshit yourself.
No.
And I said sometimes you have to look into the mirror.
Yes.
And if you will tell a lie to yourself, then you'll definitely tell a lie to me. I said you ain't got to be honest with me, but at least
you have to be honest
with yourself. And if you can be honest with yourself,
you're good.
You'll have no problem being honest with me.
Because look, a lie you always have to remember that you told that lie, and you're gonna lie on that lie to remember that lie. But if once you're honest, dude, you don't have to think about being honest because it's just the truth.
Yeah.
A lie, you have to think about who did I tell that lie? Who did I tell that story to? I know they ain't true, but who did I tell that story to? How did I tell that story? The truth? Psh, you could tell the truth to 10 different people, and 20 years down the line, they'll come back to you, you'll tell them the same thing.